Hey guys, Rochelle here with Amethyst Ascension. If you are new here, welcome, and if you're returning, thank you so much for joining me again. So today I'm going to be doing the second week in the channeling the Divine Feminine. Sorry, I'm not used to being in front of the camera. I'm trying to do it a little bit more. We'll see. We'll see how long I do it. But I did want to talk about something. In the first week, I did the spread on awareness and all that. However, I didn't really touch on what I thought the Divine Feminine was myself. And it's actually very simple. I see the Divine Feminine as everything. I know that most commonly we think of the Divine Feminine as like soft and nurturing and receptive and healing. And although I do think all of those things, I also think that the Divine Feminine can be aggressive, can be destructive, can be, I guess what I'm just trying to say is that I don't necessarily fall into, there's Soli down there, I don't necessarily believe that the divine masculine and the divine feminine are separate. I believe that they are all the same. It is all the same. I think this is just my own personal belief. I believe that we as human beings give them definite characteristics. But I think being in union, true union, is just being your true self again, which encompasses everything that we have put on masculine and feminine energy. I believe it's all one and the same. So, but when we're looking at imbalances, I do think that we are out of balance in like the characteristics that we as human beings put on what we believe to be the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So when I say that it's out of balance, I don't just mean that it's like an inequality for women. I believe there's an inequality for men as well because of it being out of balance. And when we do the other live chats with Courtney, or the other live chat, because the other one got canceled. She wasn't, anyways, that's not my place to say, but I think we'll be touching on that kind of stuff. So, or at least I'm going to try to remember to touch a little bit more on that and how I think that the inequality is for both masculine and feminine, but I believe that the traits of what is we consider to be feminine is out of sync for actual male and female in our I think we're all wounded because of a lack of what we would consider the divine feminine. So, but I am going to turn this camera around now, and I am going to do one of the spreads for the second week. And the second week, we are focusing on trust and listening and our intuition. So trusting and listening to our intuition. So let me turn this camera around. Sorry, I keep looking at myself instead of where I'm supposed to be looking. I'm not used to doing this, but anywho, I'll see you in a second. Okay, so we are going to the second week, and this is the tarot spread. Just for clarification, and maybe I'm misunderstanding, but I'm thinking that people are thinking that I came up with these spreads. I did not come up with these spreads. Courtney came up with these spreads. I simply put them on a card spread, put them in a graphic for you. But these were entirely her spreads. I might have added one thing or helped her restructure a little bit, but these are all pretty much hers. I just wanted to clarify that, okay? But they are all in image files that come along with the digital as well. So this is the spread for the second week. Wisdom from within. How well do I listen to my intuition? What happens when I ignore it? How does my inner wisdom communicate with me? What helps me hear my inner voice clearly? And guidance from higher self. How can I trust you better? So I'm going to set this aside and let me grab my decks. So the two decks that I'm going to work with, I just cannot get enough of my a Gothic Tale. I'm going to use the dark version this time. So I'm going to use that. And I cannot get enough of this one, the Stone and Shadow Oracle by Ray Serafina Barker. So I'm just going to shuffle these right quick, and then I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I'm just going to give you just a little bit of shuffling, because I know you guys like that. I get comments all the time with, I love your shuffling. So, all right. So I am asking my higher self to help me to decipher these cards for my highest benefit, please. Okay. All right. How well do I listen to my intuition? How well do I listen to my intuition? Oh. I'd say that's about right. What happens when I ignore it? What happens when I ignore my intuition? What happens when I ignore my intuition? What happens when I ignore my intuition? I always imagine my higher self reaching in and pulling out. I'm just going to take the top cards. How does my inner wisdom communicate with me? How does my inner wisdom communicate with me? Yeah. Oops. What was the other one? The Empress. Yeah, but I'm going to keep just the top card. What helps me hear my inner voice clearly? What helps me hear my inner voice clearly? What helps me hear my inner voice clearly? Oops. Yeah. Yes. All right. And the last question, which is guidance from higher self. I'm actually going to, that's where I'm going to draw this. Let me shuffle this just a couple of times. This one's a little bit stiffer of a cardstock. That's why I don't riffle it. I just like side shuffle it. All right, so the question is guidance from my higher self. How can I trust you better? How can I trust you better? Ooh, life and death. All right, so let's dissect this a little bit, shall we? All right, so how well do I listen to my intuition? Very well. Oops. I do listen to my intuition. Always. And I feel like that is because of the amount of dream work that I've done and paying attention. And when I second guess it, what happens? It's usually when I second guess it. I played all kinds of like psychic development games and games, yeah, but I mean, so that I do know how to trust my intuition. And it never fails me when I listen, when I trust my gut truly. The second card, what happens when I ignore it? Yes. When I ignore, I feel like I go on a quest, you know, like the hero's journey. This is what this feels like. But I don't see everything because the knight, sorry, hopefully he's done. The knight is not the master of his thoughts. He is still youthful and he's very driven, okay? And sometimes he's quick to make judgment calls that he shouldn't or she shouldn't, right? Because they don't have all the information there. So sometimes it's rash, you know? Yeah, that's the way I see it when I don't listen. I go on foolhardy crusades that actually truly get me nowhere because I'm not looking at the bigger picture. I'm too focused on the outcome rather than opening myself up and listening. So, how does my inner wisdom communicate with me? Yeah. It's in my dreams, in my thoughts. It's in the practice that I do. It's in energy. I can feel it in the energy. It communicates with me when I am seeking it, when I am paying attention, when I'm in a certain level of awareness, when I black out everything else so that I can hear it, you know? That's how it communicates with me. And what helps me hear my inner voice clearly? Introspection and the light. I've said it many, many times. Follow your joy. Follow the things that are of interest to you in this lifetime because there is a reason for that. So I truly, truly believe that. I am on the path that I'm supposed to be because I follow it. I follow what my instincts tell me. It's very organic. You know, I don't just go with the flow of what other people say works. I find my own path. And a little bit of a rebel with that. I don't like doing what everybody else does. I don't like doing anybody else's spells. I don't like doing anybody else's necessarily their spreads, although I do like doing spreads, but I like creating them with my own questions too. Or even when I do another spread, sometimes I tweak them. You know what I mean? But that's not always good either. I'm not saying that's always good, but introspection, you know, authenticity, following your own passions and interest and being your own light. I feel like that is what helps me clearly hear my inner voice. And then lastly, this is guidance for my higher self on how I can trust you better. How can I trust my higher self better? And this is life and death. So let me find it right quick. Okay, so this is the book, and this is what it says for life and death. Death is an altar for the spirit of life. So brings your offerings, arrange your sacred objects, perform your rituals, plant your seeds, let it be a resting place where you too are cherished and honored as the sacred vessel of all things holy that you are, a being who belongs in this hallowed place, fertile and wild, where life is held in numinous fullness, until it lets go to make a way and circle back to a beginning. We'll remember the moment we arrive. Wow. How can I trust you better? I mean, to me, that just speaks of just trusting in what may come, what comes my way, believing in the cycle of life and death, and, you know, that everything is ever changing, and then we come back to the beginning again. That we will always come back to the beginning of who our soul really is. Not of this incarnation, but of the culmination of all incarnations. The cycle of life and death, right? And I think that this is also talking about I can continue to trust better the more that I integrate my past life memories. Continue to do past life work and shadow work, that is in the light and that is in the dark, and integrate those together. And that is how I will trust myself better, trust my higher self better. So this is so good. This work is so good. Courtney, thank you for all of the work that you have put into this. I'm looking forward to every week, and as you release your thoughts on each week and what it means to you and why you are focusing on this particular thing this week, I'm so here for it. This is such beautiful work, and I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for all the people that are joining in. Thank you so much. And I'm feeling like a real sisterhood, a real community. This work every month that we've been doing has been so fulfilling for me. I hope you're finding it super fulfilling as well. So thank you for spending this time with me. And until the next one, thank you. Sending you love always.